Back in 2020, we got a confirmation that God of War as a franchise was not over, and there would be a continuation from the 2018 title, and that it was planned for release around 2021, which people started to refer to as God of War Ragnarok. A couple hours ago, as of recording this video, we got an update on what's going on with that game, as we haven't heard anything since really, which is fair enough. If it's not ready, don't tell us about it. But with everything going on in the world, it makes sense that the 2021 release window was a little optimistic sounding, which has now been confirmed by a statement tweeted out by Santa Monica Studio, which reads as follows. Since the release of the next God of War teaser last year, we've been humbled by the amount of love our community has shown us. We're incredibly grateful to see so many people excited to experience the next chapter of Kratos and Atreus' journey. We remain focused on delivering a top quality game while maintaining the safety and well-being of our team, creative partners and families. With this in mind, we've made the decision to shift our release window to 2022. Thank you all for your continued support. We've got some exciting things in the works that we can't wait to show you. So what this is saying is, while the plan beforehand was to release the game in 2021, due to difficulties caused by, I'd imagine, COVID amongst other things, that's no longer on the table, and the game will now be releasing at the very earliest in 2022. We haven't actually seen anything about this game properly yet, we've just seen the teaser which showed nothing, so from what we can see, we don't actually know how far along in development this game actually is. So I wouldn't dismiss the idea of this game being delayed perhaps further. If you want to call a change of release window a delay, I mean, it's not a specific release date, so to me it's more of a this is what we're aiming for rather than giving us a specific, because I'd imagine if they were 100% certain they'd be able to hit this window, they'd have at least given a date or more specifics than just 2021. So while it is technically a delay, the word's just a touch dramatic, as when you see a year as your release window, you'd imagine that's subject to change more so than a specific date would be. Regardless of whether or not you think we should have seen it coming, I don't think it's necessarily too relevant to the grand scheme of things, because when this game comes out, there's a good chance that just like the game before it, it will be an absolute banger. If I sound like a zombie, I apologise, it's been a long day. I understand when it becomes years and years of delays, don't get me wrong, but that's not what's happening, is it? And anyway, the change of release window could be as big as a year, say fall of 2021 to fall of 2022, or it could be early 2022, it may not even be that big, it's not that specific, and that's for a reason, that being they don't have a release date in mind yet. And regardless of that discussion, the big question is it really too important? Unless an utter catastrophe happens, the game will come out, and if it needs the extra time, then it's only going to be better for it. A good point for many to interject with the Cyberpunk argument, but to those people I say, do you seriously think if Cyberpunk didn't have those delays it would be better? Nah, it was fucked anyway, so there's no real reason to be pessimistic based on this news alone. The news that may be either relieving or upsetting depending on whether or not you own a PS5 is the confirmation, thanks to a PlayStation blog, is that this God of War Ragnarok, we'll call it for now, will indeed, alongside the PlayStation 5, be coming to the previous generation, the PlayStation 4. And I know some people, Eddie, who I'm sure won't be too happy about that, because people who own the PS5 likely want to see more games completely stand on the technology of the PS5 rather than have to be kept back by the previous generation. And while some games are exclusive to the current generation, a lot of the big AAA games that are releasing are still cross-gen, and it looks like the majority will continue to be so well into 2022. And so it doesn't feel like the PS5's technology, for example, is being used perhaps as much as players who bought it feel it should be. Doesn't mean there aren't any, everybody knows that there are some PS5 exclusive games, some that have already been dropped and others that are coming very soon, but I suppose I can understand why PS5 players may be upset at God of War Ragnarok being cross-gen, as based on that alone I'd imagine the game will be fundamentally limited on how it can best utilise the PS5 technology, and even then there's the question of how well will it run on PS4s anyway, leading people to believe that cross-gen may be a bit more pointless regardless. Now I'm thinking aloud with gibberish, allow me to come around to the other side of this. The flip side to this is next-gen consoles are still very scarce. You can't just go out and buy one unless you want to cave to a scalper selling it at more than double the price, as the moment these consoles restock, they're completely gobbled up and out of stock within mere seconds. So most people have to be either on the ball 100% of the time, which is just not realistic, or they'll have to wait until the PS5 does become more widely available and the scalping market for PS5s becomes redundant. As the uncomfortable truth is, a game that's only on the PS5 right now is majorly inaccessible, and so if God of War didn't release on previous gen, or Horizon Forbidden West, or whatever else game that's going to, they'd be alienating huge portions of those franchises' player bases, and as the PlayStation blog states, based on everything right now, that's just not good business. So yes, there will be technical limitations that comes with this cross-gen transition period, if you will, but it's about keeping the games accessible to all the players who want to play them. And so while I understand why some people may be disappointed that God of War Ragnarok may not be a current generation exclusive, or next generation shall we say, considering we're still in that transition period, but I also understand why these big titles aren't necessarily going to be able to do that just yet. And I suppose this indicates that Sony anticipates the shortage of PS5s to continue into 2022. And that brings us to the end of this ramble. I just wanted to fire up and do some form of video, and this news landed conveniently in my lap, so there you go. Be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments section. Thank you all for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, share the channel with your friends and all that wonderful stuff if you fancy it, that would be super fantastic. Apparently we, as in the 4 Pillars, have a subreddit now, which is just terrifying, and there's no way this isn't a mistake. And with any luck, I'll be seeing you all very soon with another video at some point, but until next time, take care and goodbye.